after the Minnesota game, JJ said he felt like that was your guys' best defensive performance of the season. You guys followed that up with the performance against Memphis. What have you seen from the defense the past few games that was different compared to before the 4-day break you guys had in the games?
Just attention to detail. I think we're just focusing on the attention to detail for 48 minutes. Starting the game, third quarter, getting off to a good defensive mentality.
You've been pretty constant with us when we've asked you about twists and turns of the season. You're being committed to what you're asking from the coaching staff because you're looking at the big picture goal of postseason success. What do you think of your current role, though, in the team's success?
Just doing what I'm asked, trying to star in that role.
Yeah, I think it was your career high points off the bench against Portland. Does that, I mean, you're a confident guy, but that give you any sort of a boost in owning that role?
As you adjust into this, as players hit different times in their career, they have to make these types of adjustments. How tough is it to redefine success? Redefine what a good game is. And a good game for you on this team in this role isn't necessarily what a good game on Brooklyn looked like, or isn't necessarily what a good game looked like last year even. Is that mentally a thing that a player has to deal with, and how have you dealt with it?
I think you have two choices. You either deal with it and adapt, try to longevity in your career, or you don't. It's all about adapting. Me, I didn't adapt sooner than I expected or not. It is what it is.
D'Lo talked about me. JJ talked about how some of the younger guys just breaking the ice game, saying it's okay to make mistakes. At what point in your career did you learn it's okay to make mistakes and just hoop free?
I mean, when I first got drafted, I think there's a lot of attention here in LA, so you think everything's kind of magnified, my bad though. And then once you shift I got traded, and that's when I realized it's only like that really in LA, so it allowed me to just focus on my craft in New York. Just focus on my craft early, every year, fourth year.
Sacramento is a team that you guys have struggled with in the last couple seasons. You guys got them in a pretty intense game earlier this year. What level of energy does playing them demand? And I guess this team was able to hit that level of energy, it seemed like, on Sunday. How important is it going to be for this team to hit that baseline as sort of a standard?
I think that's it. Figuring out what our standard is and being consistent at it. Obviously, Sacramento is really good. Love the way they coach all the time. Under Mike Brown, he's got to Golden State, so he kind of brings a similar running style. So it's tough to guard.
D'Angelo, the way the schedule is with the Kings here, it's almost like a mini games 1 and 2 of the playoff series, and then you go there, you have a day off in the city, but of course they're not playoff games. How do you approach a set like that? And we've seen more of these in the NBA recently.
How do I approach it?
Yeah, what's kind of an optimal way for a team to approach it when you play the same team twice in their city?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I think it's one game at a time. It's not a back-to-back, right?
Right, day off in between.
Yeah, so I think we get to prepare and learn from what you did the first game and try to take that into the second game. It's kind of like a gift and a curse. You win the first one, you kind of feel good. You get smacked on the second one, or you lose the first one, you try to leave it all on the floor on the second one. So I'm trying to have that approach for both games. Win, lose, and draw.
So one of the things that Brian needs to learn is he needs to learn that it's okay to fail. How hard is that to do when you're a Laker? And particularly, I mean, Bronny's situation, being Bronny's situation, how tough do you think that is for him to learn that it's okay to go 0 for 9 or whatever?
That's a good point you make. It's definitely, being on the Lakers brings a lot of added stuff, especially with the biggest franchise in the world. So like you said, it's tough to fail on the Lakers. I feel like every mistake you make, at least I feel like this my rookie year, even last year a little bit, is like highlighted in bold. And when I kind of just started to let go of that fear of failure, I think I said in my post-game press conference, you got to fail before you succeed. So, for example, that Oklahoma City mistake felt like it was the end of the world almost, because we're in a big game, in-season tournament, Lakers versus Thunder, kind of like to decide. It's a big game for our seeding, and I go and make a mistake. And at first, I felt like it was the end of the world, and then now it's serving me kind of a few games later. So, just kind of got to ride with the waves and just kind of get through it.
And there's been so many twists and turns to you guys' season so far. JJ just mentioned you missing 3 games earlier this year. Like I kind of forgot about it, but he seemed to think it was kind of a big step for you this year in the way you recommitted yourself when you came back or whatever. How that plays a part of your story this year?
No, it's 100% a part of it. I think I've turned the corner a little bit since I've came back, and those 3 games that I was out, I've said it before, like you said, kind of just recommitting myself, looking inward, seeing what I can do better, how I can help this team. And I think I've discovered a few things that I can do, and I just kind of honed in on it, for the last couple games that I've been in the rotation. So just trying to keep that up, trying to stay consistent, control what I can control, and that's all you can ask for from me.
When you see on film that your foot speed is good enough to stay in front of John Moran, that your athleticism is good enough to challenge his floaters and his in between game, what does that do for you confidence-wise and defensively?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of confidence. I think I've been thrown in the fire guarding a lot of really good players, Trae Young, John Morant, to name a few. So it's definitely a big confidence booster for me. And I think as well, my teammates did a really good job just kind of being in the gaps and helping for me. It's hard to contain someone as athletic and as fast as him by myself. So there were moments where I did a good job, but there were other times he kind of got by me. My teammates were in the shifts, so they had me out too. But confidence-wise, I'm at all-time high with my defense, and I feel like you said, my athleticism, my length, and just kind of my willingness to give as much effort as I can on that end is translating in. So.
You mentioned making discoveries during that few games you're out of the rotation. Were those new things you discovered, or is it things that re-emphasized from training camp, preseason?
I think it's kind of just re-emphasizing things. I think I felt like before I was out, I was kind of playing hard, kind of just trying, but I really wasn't. It's kind of like as a player, when you're in it, you feel like you're doing as best you can, but when you have coaches and you watch the film, you're not really trying as hard as you can. And I felt like that's kind of what I was doing. And I came out kind of a wake-up call just to look back and see what I can do better. And then for me, it was kind of just relocking on the things I can control, and effort being the biggest one. Defensively, just giving as much effort as I can. And when I do that, offense will reward myself. We'll get steals, we'll get layups. The team will win more. Simple things like that. So kind of just more controllable things that I already had highlighted in previous years that I just needed to do a better job.
Max, when did you get to the point where it's okay to fail, it's okay to make mistakes? Talk about how JJ has made it easy for you.
I mean, that just came from a lot of experience, and JJ is obviously a really good coach in terms of he instills confidence in his players. And I said it, before my first 2 years, it was not easy to fail. I felt like it was really tough. You're looking on social media and all these negative comments and stuff like that. And so I've learned to adapt and grow where I stay off of that now for the most part. And also inwardly with myself and my own voice in my head, my own confidence, my own self-esteem, learning that it's okay to fail, and knowing that you have to fail before you succeed. Failure is a stepping stone for success. You learn, you grow from it. So I don't know of any really talented person that has just had success all their life. They failed at certain points in the spotlight. They failed in the dark. So you're going to fail at some point, and you just got to take it on the chin and find a way to just get better.
We spoke earlier this year, I think, at some point about Ronnie, where struggled in summer league, got off to a slow start in the preseason. You had said that. Brad's like, no, you see it. What have you seen from him just in a short time in terms of growth when he's playing with you guys? I know he's missed a chunk with the season, but what have you seen from him and what's he been like as a teammate so far?
Yeah, I mean, the kid's a good player, man. I mean, regardless of what everybody says about him, he's not good enough, yada, yada, yada. This kid's a good player. He wouldn't be here if he wasn't. So he's grown a lot, just being with us. I think having LeBron as someone that's around him a lot, he's learned, obviously. He's known a lot coming into this stuff. And then adding him into a team setting too, he's asking a lot of questions. He's being attentive to details. And you can see him kind of picking up a rhythm a little bit in the G League now. So obviously, like I said earlier, you're going to fail before you succeed, and everybody has their own separate journey. It just so happens that his is really in the spotlight, and some people don't realize that it takes time for someone to get accustomed to something new, especially at the professional level. So he's just taking his time. He's taking his own steps. He's going through his own journey, and we all believe in him. Everybody in this organization believes in him. So that's all you need from the player.
Thank you.
Let's start with Ronnie. So he's going to play. Is he going to play the showcase? Is that the plan for him?
Yeah.
What have you seen from him developmentally here? Were you able to circle back and see more of the G League games and kind of where is he making those biggest steps?
Yeah, I think where I've seen on court in the G League, I think some decision making with the basketball, being on ball and making good decisions, both as a scorer and as a playmaker. Continuing to see the flashes defensively of what we're really excited about. I think what we kind of stressed with him throughout the summer, preseason, early season, was getting himself into elite shape so that he could be a high-level impact player on the defensive end. Then he has the heel injury, kind of has to lose some of that momentum. But we're excited about what he's done over the last 2 games and looking forward to seeing the rest of him.
When you guys drafted him, I think you called him like test case 1 for like you guys developmentally. And one of the things that you guys have tried to instill with him is aggression, right? At both ends. As we've gotten to know, he's not the loudest kid. He's not the most aggressive personality.
Yeah.
Can that be like? How are you, other than just a reminder? Like, how can you teach someone to be more aggressive? What's your plan to make him more aggressive?
Sure. There's got to be a carrot. It's something that we talked about with the group in Atlanta. Being in a tough situation where a lot of guys were hurt, some guys away from the team, it's hard to, it's not a punishment. You're either going to do the things we're asking you to do, and you're going to play, or you're not going to do those things and you're not going to play. It's very simple, and that's just the way I'm going to coach the basketball team going forward. So I think not just for Ronnie, what we envision for him to be able to play and impact winning, he's got to be able to baseline do those things. It's no different than Max Christie or Dalton. And if you do those things, you will be rewarded with play. So as much, I know what you're getting at. The development process, if you're clear with what you want and you're doing those things that we ask, you're going to get rewarded. So that's in some ways how you teach it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You guys have a real practice today?
Yeah, we did. With not a lot of bodies, but we got after it.
Was one of those bodies LeBron James?
LeBron and AD didn't practice with the group today. They had a very spirited individual workout with Greg St. Jean where they moved around a lot and got some weight room and some training room stuff. The plan is for them to practice tomorrow. We'll get another practice tomorrow. We only had 8 bodies today, so it was a modified with a lot of live stuff though, just in smaller groups, 1-on-1, 3-on-3.
Do you anticipate having them in Sacramento? LeBron, I mean.
Yes. Anticipate. Don't hold me to anything. You gotta make decisions in real time.
You guys, I would assume, would keep Coloco with you guys and not send him to Orlando?
Yeah.
What about Quincy?
Quincy is in Orlando. We'll be in Orlando.
Any update on Christian, Jackson, Orlando?
So Jackson is continuing to work to strengthen his ankle. I will likely have an update early next week in terms of what return to play looks like, but right now the focus for him is just on strengthening that ankle. And then with Christian, he continues to progress. We don't have necessarily a set date for his return to play with us, but the progress has been good, and he's doing. He's going to stay back and do live against the coaching associates while we're in Sacramento, which is a big step forward for him.
With Jackson, so he's for sure going to miss at least this next 3 to 4 games then before Christmas.
He's not coming with us to Sacramento, so that's what I know. Yeah.
And then you said with Christian, he's going to be playing live.
He's not coming with us to Sacramento, nor is Vandal. They will be doing their rehab and court work here.
But for Christian, you say he's going to be live against coaches
this week. Yeah.
This week. I guess what has he done that's led up to? I guess that stuff in his progress.
He's doing more on the court with obviously just individual work, his, Ultra G stuff getting to 95%, 100% on the Ultra G. So again, he's just, he's had progress, and he's looking like it'll be soon, barring any setback, that he'll be back with us.
For a player like Christie, it's almost been a calendar year since he's played. What's the realistic expectation once he's back, and I guess how patient you guys afford to be with players as they try to work themselves back while you're in a Western Conference that the margins are razor thin?
Sure. You want to be patient with any guy coming back from an injury, particularly someone like him and Vando as well, who have not played a ton of basketball in the last year. So we'll be patient with them, and excited to get both those guys back.
I looked at the game logs for Max, like maybe the last 4 or 5 games leading into Sunday's game. He shot pretty proficiently from beyond the arc. That part of the team, how big of a factor was it in making the decision for you to coach the set to start?
I believe in Max as a shooter. The previous 4 or 5 games didn't really factor in. I have a belief in him as a shooter. I would say the bigger factor was probably just the overall body of work. Since he returned to the rotation after missing, I think it was 3 games earlier in the year. He hasn't been perfect game to game, but I think there's been a level of consistency and trust built, not only with me, but with his teammates.
How important will the Sacramento games, I guess, be for a test? When you talk about point of attack defense, they're going to have De'Aaron Fox. Just how much of a test will that be for him?
It's going to be a test for a team. We want to be a team defense, and it obviously starts at the point of attack. Max was fantastic against Morant the other day, but you still have to rely on your low man. You still have to rely on your shifts, and De'Aaron Fox is a one-man fast break, so it starts with sprinting back and setting our defense. So it's not just on him; it's on the team, and obviously Sabonis is a fantastic player too. So we'll be tested.
You talked about players and like how they're going to have to be willing to do what you guys are asking them. How willing has Bronny been through this process to kind of take the instruction that you guys have given him?
Yeah, that has not been an issue at all. He's very coachable. I think there's and I've told him this. He's got to get to the point where it's okay to fail. I think he has a real